Here's a problem. You're working at Netflix and you have millions of users trying to use the service. For example, a user might be trying to add movies to their list, find the next recommended show, view watch history, update their profile, and manage their subscriptions. And while all of this is going on, you also have a system that also needs to update internal analytics, billing systems, email notification service, and update recommendation algorithm. Now, once you scale this from a single user activity to millions and millions of users, you start to get a scope of how complex this entire operation is. And one of the major complexities here is coordinating all the requests that are being sent between systems. Every click, every swipe, and every interaction with the Netflix application needs to be processed by all the components inside the system. We can start out by abstracting away all the dependent components here into two main categories: producers and consumers. For example, producers are any entity that produces facts. So in our case, it could be client apps where users perform actions like start playback, add to watch list, search, or thumbs up. And it could also be any of the microservices that create events like register device, process payment, renew subscription. So in other words, producers play the role in creating signals and delegate the responsibility to an external entity that can actually take them. Consumers are components within the system that actually take the signals created by producers and react to them. So if an email relay server needs to send out forgot password email, for example, or your push notification needs to show on devices, or running database searches for movies and TV shows. This type of abstraction between producers and consumers is how Apache Kafka tries to frame the problem. By essentially acting as a broker, Apache Kafka can really focus on getting the messaging pipeline implemented to provide a fast and reliable highway for all the dependent entities in a system to work seamlessly. And you might be wondering, is Apache Kafka only a messaging medium that basically passes topics back and forth? Having a platform like Apache Kafka, where events and topics flow reliably, is certainly one of the core elements. But being reliable means more than just having a system that passes information and events from one system to another. For example, popular applications like Netflix require extremely low latency because people rely on Netflix to work very fast in providing what they actually need in seconds. So that means when topics need to be stored in a way that can be retrieved at a near instantaneous speed, Apache Kafka is highly asynchronous by nature and leverages techniques like zero copy and sequential log-based structure, where you can essentially optimize how events are stored and transferred to reduce the overhead of writing and transmitting data, allowing topics to flow through the system with extremely low latency. Other areas that Apache Kafka helps is what's called batching. As we saw earlier, when millions and millions of users are interacting with their system to generate events, the producers can constantly open and close network requests, which could certainly add network overhead that could be avoided. In other words, if we batch multiple records into one single request before sending them to the broker, on a mass scale, looking at millions of interactions that occur, this could drastically reduce the network load that's required to handle this highly responsive and reactive network of systems. And this type of batching occurs not only on the producer side, but also in how each topic is partitioned. Essentially, you can have the topic contain multiple partitions that all have their own different consumers that are designated to process specific partitions, but all in sequence. This type of partitioning allows true parallelism and scalability, where you can route one single topic in various areas within the system. As you can see, underneath a simple broker like Apache Kafka that helps applications like Netflix process millions and millions of events that occur within the loop of the system, there are a lot of structural components to consider. Let's dive into the lab portion to actually get a feel of how this actually works under the hood. Alright, let's start with the labs. In this lab, we're diving into Apache Kafka for production event streaming. This is perfect for anyone looking to understand how Netflix and similar platforms handle millions of user interactions in real time. The first question gives us a mission briefing. It talks about the critical problem modern applications like Netflix face: coordinating millions of events between systems. When millions of users simultaneously add movies to watch lists, start playback, search content, and update profiles, you need a reliable way to handle these events. Without proper event streaming, you can't scale to handle millions of concurrent users, maintain low latencies, or ensure reliable message delivery. Then, it introduces Apache Kafka as a distributed event streaming platform that solves this coordination chaos. Kafka has three main components. producers, which create events like client apps and microservices, brokers, which act as a reliable highway for events to flow through, and consumers, which processes events like email services and analytics pipeline. The platform is loved by DevOps engineers because it provides extremely low latency with zero copy transfers. Batching reduces network overhead by 90%, true parallelism through partitioning, and fault tolerance through replication. Next, we're asked to verify our environment. This is straightforward. We run the verify environment script and it checks that all our components are installed. Docker, Java, Kafka, and /root/Kafka. Zookeeper on port 2181, Kafka Broker on port 9092, Kafdrop UI on port 9000, and Python packages, Kafka Python and Faker. This is important because we need everything ready before diving into the actual tasks. The third question is crucial. It explains how to access the Kafdrop UI. The UI is running on port 9000, and to access it, we click the three dots menu in the top right corner, select View Port, enter port 9000, and click Open Port. The Kafdrop UI then opens it in a new browser tab. We're told to keep this tab open because we'll use it after each task to visualize our topics, partitions, consumer groups, and broker health. Question 4 covers Kafka's core concepts in more detail. Take a moment to explore this question yourself, as it reinforces what we learned in the mission briefing about producers, brokers, and consumers. It even shows a production scenario where a user clicks play on Netflix and 3 different services process that single event independently for analytics, billing, and recommendations. We now get to the hands-on part. Question 5 is an info page that prepares us for task number 1. It explains what we'll learn about Kafka cluster setup, creating an admin client, configuring our first topic called Netflix events with 3 partitions, and verifying the topic is ready. The expected results are Zookeeper running on 2181, Kafka Broker on 9092, and the Netflix events topic visible in Kafdrop with 3 partitions. Question 6 is our first actual task. In this question, we're asked to set up a Kafka cluster and create our first topic. We open the task 1 Kafka setup Python file and complete our 4 to-dos. Create the admin client, configure the new topic with 3 partitions, create topics, and verify it exists. Once we run the script, we can open the Kafdrop UI and see our Netflix event topics with 3 partitions. Question 7 prepares us for task number 2 by explaining producers and batching. Producers publish events to Kafka topics. We'll simulate Netflix users' activities like playback, watchlist, and search events. The batching import is huge. Without batching, you get about 1,000 events per second, but with batching, you achieve over 10,000 events per second with 90% reduced network overhead. For Netflix, with millions of concurrent users, batching is essential. In question 8, we're asked to implement Netflix-style event producers with batching optimizations. We work with the task 2 Netflix producers file and complete 4 to-dos. Create the producer with batching config, generate playback events, send events to the topic, and flush all batched events. After running the script, we refresh the Kafdrop UI and see the message count increased across our 3 partitions. Question 9 sets us up for task 3 by explaining consumers and consumer groups. Consumers read and process events from Kafka topics. We'll build 3 specialized services: email service for watchlist events, analytics service for playback events, and recommendation service for search events. The consumer group architecture enables parallel processing where each of the 3 partitions is assigned to a different consumer, giving us maximum throughput with auto-balancing if any consumer fails. Question 10 is where we build multiple consumer services with group coordination. We're working with the task 3 consumer group file, which has 4 to-dos. Create the consumer group configuration, subscribe to the Netflix event topics, implement the event processing logic to route and to correct services, and commit offsets after processing. After completion, we go to the Kafdrop UI and see our consumer groups with partition assignments. Question 11 explains partitions and retention management before we dive into task number 4. In production, we need to dynamically alter partition count as load increases and configure retention policies for compliance. We'll alter partitions from 3 to 6 to double our throughput capacity and set a 7-day retention policy for GDPR compliance by configuring retention.ms. And this matters in real scenarios like Black Friday traffic spikes where we need more parallelism, or GDPR requirements for automatic data deletion. In question 12, we're asked to dynamically alter topic partitions and configure retention policies. We'll work with task 4 partition management file, verify the initial 3 partitions, alter to 6 partitions, configure 7-day retention, and verify changes in Kafdrop. After running the script, we see 6 partitions within the retention policy displayed in the UI. Question 13 sets us up for task 5 by explaining performance testing and cleanup. We'll measure the performance impact of different partition counts. One partition achieves 1,000 events per second as baseline, 3 partitions get 5,000 events per second, and 10 partitions reach 15,000 plus events per second. The key insight is more partitions equal more parallelism equal higher throughput. We'll also learn proper cleanup by deleting only test topics while preserving Netflix events. Question 14 is our final hands-on task where we measure partition performance and safely clean up test topics. We work with task 5 performance cleanup file. Create test topics with different partition counts, measure throughput for each, compare results, and delete only the test topics. The performance by comparison clearly shows the 12 times improvements from 1 to 10 partitions. Question 15 helps us understand the Kafdrop UI in depth. Explore this question yourself to learn about the cluster overview showing broker health and throughput, topic management displaying partition distribution, consumer groups showing partition assignment and lag, and broker metrics including disk usage and network throughput. In production, we use Kafdrop to monitor lag, rebalance partitions, troubleshoot issues, and do capacity planning. Finally, question 16 is our completion page. It congratulates us on mastering Kafka cluster setup, producer implementation with batching optimization, consumer groups with parallel processing, partition configuration with dynamic scaling, retention policy for compliance, and Kafdrop UI navigation. These are career-ready skills that help us handle millions of events, build fault-tolerant pipelines, enable real-time analytics, and achieve horizontal scaling. Companies like Netflix, Uber, LinkedIn, Spotify, and Twitter all use Kafka in production.